Today, we're going to be counting down the top 10 things that Epic needs to do in Chapter 3. If you guys want to see us hit 800 subscribers, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Bring it! Oh, that's an L for you, bro. You square up. Come on, whites.
Let's go!
Alright, so number one on our list, starting us off, is going to be new guns slash loot pool. Now what I mean by this is kind of like what they did in Season 6, where like you spawned in and the first thing you saw were all of the new and interesting guns. I know a lot of people didn't really like Season 6. I actually personally really liked it. It's also the season where I started to get really good at the game, or better. But it was also a season where they really just shook things up, like bows in the game, all the makeshift weapons in the game, all the primal weapons in the game. There's a lot going on, and I really enjoyed it as we had to go in and discover this new loot pool and decide what we liked for ourselves, instead of following the meta that everyone knew almost as muscle memory at this point. No! The second thing that we need in Chapter 3 is a brand new map. By this, I don't completely mean that we have to get rid of all the POIs that we know now, or that are currently on the map, just to have a completely new, fresh map to begin with. And maybe mess with the terrain a little bit, add a little bit more water to the map, maybe do some more mountainous terrain. Maybe some more mountainous terrain in the more middle side of the map, so there's valleys on either side. Add some snowy areas, add some deserty areas, maybe add a jungle, kind of like we had in Season 8. Just kind of mess around with the idea of different biomes. I would really like that. I don't mean biomes that we kind of saw in Chapter 1, where like you'd be walking on grass and now you're instantly on snow, but maybe an area that flowed well and something that felt good within the map. Maybe have some of those areas have special things to them. Like fighting in the snow is completely different from fighting in the desert. What are you doing, buddy? Oh my god, he has a pistol. Oh my god, you guys can make a pistol. Oh my god, you're joking! Get a pistol! This brings us to the third item on our list, which is an expanded crafting system. Right now, the crafting system is quite bare. It definitely reaches peak when it was introduced in Season 6. And right now, it's the side-grade weapons, and there's only 3 variations that you can do, with a suppressed scar, rapid-fire SMG, and a charge, all of which are used way, way less than their base version in the game right now. They could kind of bring it back to how they did in Season 6, where you could craft it, different weapons, but also upgrade them simultaneously. And if you don't really want to do that, then maybe up the amount of crafting parts needed to do so. If you make it kind of rare, then that makes it all the more special. The only thing I don't want them to do is just to leave it as is and have it be side grading only. That's boring, and it makes the crafting parts in this game really, really useless. Sounds kind of crazy, but maybe they added something where you can make a complete new recipe yourself. Maybe if you had a mobility item like the grappler and found a hop flopper, maybe you could craft a hop grappler where every single time you grappled, you get an anti-gravity effect. The crafting system has so much potential, and it's really disappointing to see the state that it's in right now. Next, we have weekly updates or content drops, and this is a really, really big one. There's something in Chapter 1 that I was really, really missing, and I think a lot of people missed too. With weekly content, not only could content creators make content every single week, but for someone like me, that could open up more glitches, more possibilities that way, but also just for the player, not only the content creators. Having weekly updates keeps the game fresh and keeps people tuning in every single week to see what's going to happen on the Fortnite map. I'm done. I'm dead. Now, this is something that I'm actually going through right now, which is faster loading times between games. I am playing on the PS5, right? The fastest console you can get right now, and it still takes me upwards of 1.5 minutes to get into a game after dying. Like right now, the timer says 40 seconds, but I can guarantee you, I've been waiting here for 1 minute. In post-editing, I might have the actual time that it takes after I get through this, but for right now, you can see that even after Fortnite's count of finding a match, it's been 1 minute. Now next we have a pretty crazy one, which is my sort of exaggerated version of crafting in Fortnite. And full disclosure, this is not something that I think we will see in the near future, and maybe in the later seasons of Chapter 3 if Fortnite decides to do it. But it is weapon attachments. Kind of like a build your own gun kind of thing. You can find attachments or craft them yourself and then apply them to your guns. The simplest version would be like a silencer or extended barrel. Maybe even night vision on some of them, because for some reason night in this game is really super dark. Maybe some of the more common ones that you'll find is like a flashlight, or some kind of Fortnite exclusive ones, maybe like a double barrel, or like every single time you shoot someone with this gun, it will mark them. Something that I really want to see from Fortnite in the future in general is just the ability to make your loadout yours and craft your game around your own loadout and your playstyle. Edit. Yeah, there we go. Alright, the next one is map changes. I kind of already asked for this with the new map one, but this one's more specific. This one is more of map changes that last across the chapter. It's a bit hard to explain, but I think Slippy ended up bringing this up at one time, and it was a really good point, and I had to include it. A lot of times in Chapter 2, whenever we had a map change at the beginning of the season, it was quickly removed the next season. Say like in Season 5, the big sand in the middle. That was completely gone, and all of the effects that that sand brought with it were also gone. Then the season after, with the primal area, and we were only able to keep one of those POIs, which is Bony Burb. I think one of the things that was really cool about the Chapter 1 map is that the things that were added stayed across the entire chapter. Fortnite in Chapter 1, they never did minuses, they only did pluses. And even if some of the things were less pluses than the other pluses, at least they kept them or slightly tweaked them. Mythics making a return in a big way next chapter. The Mythics, especially towards the later end of the season, have become more and more less good or just abundant in general. Especially in Season 4 of Chapter 2, we had a ton of Marvel Mythics. And then in Seasons 2 and 3 of Chapter 2, we also had a ton of Mythics. But in 5, it's really when they just stopped. And there's only one mythic on the map at a time. Next up is something that I actually haven't seen people talk about much, which is vehicles. I don't really have many ideas for new vehicles, but they can definitely bring back some of the old ones, like helicopters, quad crashes, which is one that I know that everyone wants to see, me included. And maybe also in addition to that, more vehicle attachments, like the big tires, maybe something else, like a mounted turret on the back. And then the 10th and final one for today's video is an expanded gold system. This is one that me personally, I have been thinking a lot about. I've been frankly kind of disappointed with how they use the gold system this chapter. An expanded gold system would mean buying more things, more exotics, more mythics maybe, if you could buy mythics. Like if Fortnite was even just a little creative, they could have brought so many things in using the gold system, and it would have been really, really... I hate this game. Moving llamas is so dumb. Take it out of the game.